Yo, shout out to all of you that are following the Tyler Marin Project. Some of you might be wondering, what are black people thinking about all this nonsense going on with Starbucks? I can't speak on behalf of all black people, but I can speak on behalf of this black person. First off, if you haven't heard about what happened at Starbucks, but you somehow found this video, all right, first things first, I think this needs to be stated. If you're not a person of color watching this, you need to know when something goes down with black people don't go, oh man, this is a perfect opportunity to blame a cop or to yell at a white person. We typically ask the same question everybody else does. What actually happened? And you also have to understand, we as black people understand that where you get your news source from is going to depend on what story is being told to you. You need to know that when something goes down with black people, we just don't go and hit up whatdonehappenedtothatblackperson.com to find out our information. Though that would be a really good website. Don't steal that idea, I might use that. We do, on the other hand, try to go to the source because we understand how horrible it might be if we go on social media and put out a false narrative and how that comes back on us. So I have an incredible friend who's a news anchor in Philadelphia. After checking out her story, I had a little bit of a better idea. And it was about as bad as I thought it might be. But then, before I can even construct a thought on how I felt about it, I saw black people were already protesting Starbucks. My first thought was, Starbucks, you don't mess with the wrong people. We black and we coming out in droves. I'm calling the Bloods, I'm calling the Crips, I'm calling the NAACP, I'm calling Oprah, I'm calling my mama. We coming out thick black people! No, I'm just playing. My first thought was, not Starbucks, I love my coffee. I'm just playing. My first thought was, where am I gonna get cute little Christmas ornaments from now? No, actually my first thought was, didn't you see that article last week on how coffee causes cancer? And if anything was gonna bring down Starbucks, it would probably be the cancer part of this equation? Which brings me to my next point. Starbucks ain't going nowhere. But that does not mean that people don't have the right to protest Starbucks for something that they did wrong. Now, some people are asking, is it Starbucks' fault? Was it the barista's fault? Was it the cop's fault who came in and took the people out? Was it the police department's fault? I'm gonna go with yes. Anytime a really big mistake is made, it's usually more than one person's fault. But I'll tell you whose fault it wasn't. It was two black men sitting in that Starbucks. Okay, look, I know because this is the intranet, somebody's sitting there going, but wait, Tyler, maybe it was the two black kids' faults. Now you know darn well, if that was two really beautiful young white women in some yoga pants with their hair tied up, with a bag over their shoulder, walking in, waiting for their friends to start book club, you know darn well they would not have been pulled out of that Starbucks by the police. And if they did, they would own that police station and that Starbucks. They'd probably own all the cars in the parking lot too, just because the cars were associated with the crime. So let's go back to Starbucks. If you watch these two men get pulled out of the store, it's very interesting to see that they don't struggle. They're not even really surprised. I do think though that there was probably something inside of them that was thinking, this is not going to end well for y'all. And they'd be right. Now, I'm thinking Starbucks is gonna have to deal with that. This is gonna be really complicated. There's gonna be an outrage all over the place. But see, here's where it starts to get really complicated. I start to get hurt not just because of what happened in that store, but what starts to happen outside. And the big issue for me comes down to this one simple fact. As soon as I hear someone say, do you really think this has anything to do with them being black? This isn't because they're black. Just because they were two black men doesn't mean anything. Color has nothing to do with this. Oh no, just one more thing black people can race bait. What are black people gonna do now? Protest Starbucks? Yes, that's exactly what black people are gonna do. But I digress. Look, when I as a black man hear people say things like this aren't a thing about color, I find myself thinking, do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I'm dumb? Do you think I'm blind? Because me not thinking this is about color would be asinine. I know what I look like. There is not a moment of the day that goes by that I am not 100% aware that I am a 6'2" African-American male with dreadlocks. I know how this may make you feel. I know for whatever reason, historically, it may bring fear to you. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's acceptable, but you need to know that I am perfectly aware of how it is I make you feel. So when you tell me that this doesn't exist, when you tell me that this is not the truth, you're wrong. That got intense. No, but seriously though, even black people are sometimes freaking out about other black people. Let's say for instance that I pull up into my driveway at 3 o'clock in the morning and I see 2 black dudes with hoods sitting outside of my car. You better be aware that I might trip because they might try to rob me at gunpoint. That happened, that actually happened. Yes, I was robbed at gunpoint by 2 black dudes in hoods. That happened. Which is my point. We need to spend less time trying to argue about what actually went down as if there was some false narrative behind it and finding out ways to fix it. Now, there's different ways on how we're gonna fix it. Not everybody's going to agree. Here's the truth, even amongst black people, you got black people that are mad at other black people that they're not protesting Starbucks, and black people that are mad at black people for protesting Starbucks. That's what we're dealing with in the black community. Yeah, I know, we black people tripping. We tripping, that's just what we do, all right? We tripping, I know. So what are we gonna do? Lots of things. With black people, we're just not gonna sit around and do nothing. So you might start to see a lot of different things happen, be it protests, be it people taking to social media, be it people taking it to the streets, maybe even people asking you, why are you still drinking Starbucks after this incident? You need to know this. It's not an issue of us just being upset at what Starbucks did. This is time and time and time again of things that we've seen stacked on top of each other. So we're working through this. I personally don't think that it was the Starbucks Corporation's fault. I do think there was an individual who made a really bad mistake, and this tumbleweeded and caused a bunch of other mistakes and brought us to this point, at least with this specific issue. And with that, I want to say something. If somehow this video makes it all the way back around to you, that barista at Starbucks, listen to me. You are not a failure. You are not unredeemable. This is not the end for you. You made a mistake, a really bad mistake. But we all have. If we all had our mistakes broadcast all over the world, it would be pretty horrible for all of us. I know this. When I've made big mistakes, I've found some peace in surrounding myself with family. Little kids. They have no concept of the big mistakes that you've made. You're gonna be okay. And black people, yo, it does not make you any less black where you choose to get your coffee from now on. Refreshing. So no matter where you are and how you feel about this situation, let us remember this. Love covers a multitude of sins. And I do believe that most of us just want to be better. In the midst of that, let us not forget to love. So thanks for tuning in, my friends. And like I always say, let's try to keep loving each other well.